Ladies and gentlemen, my name is Totalbiscuit. I'm here to ask and answer one simple question. WTF is sleeping dogs? We haven't had a really big AAA release on the channel for quite some time, mostly because there haven't really been all that many, to be honest. And it seems like August is going to be a month for them. We've got Darksiders 2 coming out, as well as a bunch of other stuff. So Sleeping Dogs is the first on the list, I think, or the first on the chopping block, whichever you'd like to call it. It's published by Square-Enix and created by the guys over at United Front Games, as well as the Square-Enix London studios. You might wonder, well, where the hell did this come from? Well, it came from True Crime Hong Kong, which, if I recall correctly, used to be called Black Lotus. It was then True Crime Hong Kong. Then Activision said it was taking too long to make and costing too much, so they said we don't want to publish it. Square Enix bought the rights to the game, but didn't buy the rights to the name, which, quite frankly, considering True Crime's rather sketchy history, I've got to say was probably the best decision they could have possibly made. So Sleeping Dogs is True Crime Hong Kong, essentially, and it is an open-world, free-roaming GTA-style game. Very easy to describe. You essentially run around a big city, which happens to be modeled around Hong Kong, as you might imagine, and you hijack cars, you shoot guys, you beat them up, you do crimes, all that kind of stuff. Although, in this case, you are actually an undercover cop, so there is an interesting twist on that. They're claiming that the plot is inspired by movies like The Departed. I'm interested to see as to whether or not that is actually the case, and I'll be going really in-depth on this title. As always, however, we're going to look at the options menu. So, those of you who don't want to see the options menu and don't want the PC port talked about too much, then I suggest you click the button which is on the screen right now to skip directly to gameplay. Those who wish to know how the game actually runs, then by all means stick around. Now, looking at the options menu this time around is particularly pertinent because they put out a video claiming the PC version was good, and they had listened to the concerns and they'd created a true PC version. Have they done that? Well, if you're going to put yourself up there and say, we've made a true PC game, then expect me to tear you to pieces if you happen to be lying. Thankfully, I can say that they're not, for the most part anyway. So, options are as you would expect. You've got all of this under display here. You have 3D if you wish to use it. One nice function, actually, is the UI scale. You can actually scale the UI down, as you can see right there, so you don't have to have the menus be as large, which is very pertinent, actually, to PC users, although, I've got to say, get back up there. They don't have a proper drag going on here, so it's just like, come on, it's like battling to get it to just what is this? This random nonsense. Yes, I wouldn't use the mouse in menus for some of it. It's very weird because they claimed it was a proper PC version, and yes, mouse control, but some of the stuff doesn't actually work with the mouse, which is really odd. I'll show you some more of that in-game, which is actually more pertinent. Advanced options under Q, lots of stuff available here. Now, in this case, they've gone with an affiliation with AMD, and they have very, very high amounts of SSAA, which is actually a very memory-intensive form of anti-aliasation, which actually causes my 680 to tank a little bit. If I have this on maximum detail, which usually means high screen space ambient occlusion and extreme anti-aliasing, I'm looking at benchmarking not so great in FPS, let me put it that way. I wouldn't say it's playable, but if I knock that option down, and I don't like motion blur anyway, not that that really makes a lot much of a difference, then it runs just fine. For the most part, anyway. There is a benchmark mode, so you can actually test these. This is good, by the way. Most games don't actually have a benchmark mode, and it's wonderful to see that it has something which allows you to test exactly which options you should be going for. Annoyingly enough, though, it doesn't let you quit in the middle of the benchmark, which is so dumb. You have to Alt F4 and then reload the game in order to actually change things around and then check out the FPS. I don't really want to wait till the end of a 5-minute benchmark every time I change an option. That seems a bit silly, quite frankly. Now, they're claiming this has a high-res texture pack on launch. Well, I have it in this version, supposedly. That's what the Square Enix guys told me. We will see as to whether or not that is actually true, as to how high-res those textures really are. But for the most part, it has a lot of options, a lot of customization, and it's definitely not an ugly game by any stretch, so you can certainly say in that case that yes, they've done fairly well. Game and controls, subtitles, vibration, pretty much anything you could possibly imagine here. You can invert, you've got aim, pitch, yaw, camera pitch, and yaw. You can actually affect all of these and change them individually, which is wonderful. You can also hide your social pop-ups. There is a social element to this game. I will talk about that in the actual gameplay. You can rebind most of the keys. Yeah, you can definitely rebind all of these. For some reason, you have to press Control to go to the driving section, but there are some keys you can't rebind, like bringing up your phone, for instance. You can't rebind that. Why only let you rebind some of the keys? I really can't imagine, but hey, there you go. Alright, so options-wise, yes, for the most part, it has what you need in order for it to be a good PC port. The car music volume I've got down because music in the car is fully licensed. We've got a bunch of well-known artists there, so needless to say, I don't want to get sued. Thank you very much. Downloadable content, what is there? Don't worry, it's not day one DLC. If you actually have Just Cause 2, you get a Rico outfit in the game. That's a little freebie. It even gives you a boost to what's called action hijacking, which is very cool. Alright, I've looked in detail at the options. We will see how these things actually apply to the game as we continue in Sleeping Dogs. I've put a good few hours into this game so far, mostly because being an open world game, I wanted to actually get to the point where it was nice and open. Needless to say, in the first hour, as many open world games have a tendency to do, you end up having to go through a bunch of tutorial missions and things like that, and that's just how it works. Welcome to my apartment. I purchased this bird. Isn't it beautiful? Not really. It's not the best apartment ever. I believe it is possible to get more apartments. Now, let's go have a look at some wardrobe items, shall we? So, as you can see, I'm actually wearing Rico's outfit from Just Cause 2 here. There are a bunch of preset outfits you can do. Once again, you cannot navigate this menu with the mouse, which is kind of dumb. I've never really had too much of a problem with having to just use the keys anyway, because, hey, I'm playing with the keys, so it's not that bad. But still, it just rubs me the wrong way when they say, oh, we're going to make a great PC version, and then they miss out basic things like the ability to control the menus with the mouse. In fact, there's a weird... Let me actually show you this. If we just leave this... In order to get back, by the way, you've got to press the backspace button rather than right-clicking or pressing escape. That doesn't actually work, which is a little bit unintuitive. If you go here, you'll see this is all mouse-controlled, and if I want to go to do some karaoke, yes, this is in the game, I'll show you it in a moment, then I just click on that. Cool, great, no problem at all. But in order to actually get out of the menu, I have to press backspace. You know, that's just one example of menus where some of it is mouse controlled and the rest of it isn't, which is a little bit weird. Alright, I'm going to stick with the Rico outfit. You can buy different items of clothes, and they actually do give you a variety of bonuses. If you wish, you can take a piss. Why you would want to do that, I cannot imagine. I do not believe there is an in-game bonus to this whatsoever, but you can do it. A lot of stuff can be interacted with in the game. But there you go, my apartment is quite frankly terrible, and I should be ashamed of myself. Alright, let's head out of here. In fact, we'll start by looking at a few textures. So, they claim there was a high-res texture pack in. For the most part, the textures are not bad. Obviously, really zoomed in like that, of forcing the camera to go as close as it can get. Wall textures are not going to be amazing, but that's going to be the case in pretty much every game. I haven't noticed anything in this game so far that has blatantly stood out as, my god, this is awful, and really clashes with the aesthetic of the game. So... if this is their version of HD texture, I say they've done a reasonably good job. What I will say is, like, the detail on the character models is really good, especially in the cutscenes, so that's definitely something to consider. Needless to say, they put more detail on the main characters than anything else, but still, you know, they look pretty reasonable. Alright, well, welcome to Hong Kong, and a hell of a lot of detail, quite frankly. I think the thing which grabbed me the most about this is the authenticity of driving around Hong Kong. It does feel like... it feels familiar, as you might imagine. It's got this nice metropolitan feel to it. But it is different enough to give it a kind of exotic vibe. Hong Kong is a really cool place to actually... to actually set a game like this, so I rate it as pretty damn good. Car models, pretty awesome too, as you can see, some really nice reflections. In fact, just the lighting work in general in this game is really awesome. I really like driving through some of the more neon-lit areas, especially when it's raining, because the light has some really, really nice effects on the rain and the water on the ground. Car handling, not too shabby at all. Nice and arcadey, not as irritating as Grand Theft Auto 4. That I can tell you for a fact, handles just fine with the keyboard only, although if you're... I'd say that some of the missions, it would be nicer if you were using an analog stick, because some of them require you to stay a certain distance behind a car, like you're tailing them. Well, it's really difficult to do that when you have off and on your keyboard. One of these days, we're actually going to get analog keyboards that detect the hardness of your push, I suppose, but as far as I'm aware, those don't exist, and even if they did, support is not available. Now, performance. So, with the settings that I've gone for, bearing in mind I use a 3930K, 32 gigs of RAM, and a 680 GTX from NVIDIA. For the most part, it's running around 90 to 100 frames a second. There are parts of the game where it tanks to below 40 at times. I think it may be because I've got extreme world density on. There's a lot of cars, there are a lot of people, you can see stuff at a great distance. As you can see, there's not a huge amount of really obvious pop-in as there are in other similar titles, so I guess that's probably why. Since there are a lot of options, I reckon you can probably run this on a significantly less beastie machine than mine, but in order to crank it up to maximum, chances are you're going to have to use an AMD card because a lot of this is optimized for AMD. NVIDIA have not had the chance to get their hands on this game. I actually confirmed this by talking to my guy over at NVIDIA. He said, no, we haven't had a chance. We'll be looking to patch our drivers later on to optimize to run this game better. But one way or the other, with everything cranked up, it looks great. Just because there's so much on the screen. I think if you were to look at individual stuff, like if we get out of the car and have a look at this individual car model, for instance, it's like, it looks pretty good. It's not amazing. But it's not about individual models. It's about, look at the amount of stuff on the screen. Just seriously, look at that amount of detail. It's absolutely ridiculous. That's what's really cool about it. It's not because an individual object in the world looks amazing, it's because the whole damn thing as a whole looks amazing. That's what really impressed me about the game. You can just drive around and just see this city which looks incredibly authentic, and it's got a huge amount of detail. What's also nice is that not every building is just a storefront. There are buildings which you can actually go in. The game's got a lot of interiors, and there's also a really vertical element to it. You might notice, if we have a look on the map here, let's get out of my way. One has to remember that you drive on the left in Hong Kong, folks. Drive on the left. Notice this overpass area here. You can actually go up there, and there are several levels of it as well, and this often leads to things like rooftops, and it leads to finding stuff out of the way. There's a lot of collectibles in this game, like you would expect pretty much... Whoa, no, 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 don't do that, you silly goose. There's a lot of collectibles in the game, as you would expect from most open worlds. There are statues to collect, which can actually unlock melee moves for you. No! Stop that! Oh, I'm going to talk about how annoying that is in a minute. As I said, unlock melee moves, there are lock boxes all over the place. Some of them actually have minigames on them as well, and that's kind of fun. There's all sorts of really cool things to actually find. There are health shrines that you can find around the place, which will, needless to say, upgrade your health. There's a ton of those hidden as well. Now, I am quite a ways up here, as you can see, but I can go even higher than that, because I can see on my map that there's a bunch of thugs up there that I may want to start a fight with, which will be good, because that allows me to actually look at the combat system for you. But what I will say before we actually engage these guys is that the game has this kind of free-running aspect, which can be a little bit annoying, mostly because they've decided in their infinite wisdom to combine the spacebar actions. So, run is spacebar. However, vault is also spacebar, which, as you saw, involved me running and vaulting over the little safety bars on the side and ending up on the ground and taking some damage, which was kind of dumb. I would honestly like to see vault be on a different key to sprint. And if I recall correctly, if we were to go to the controllers, I don't think you have the option to do that. And am I correct? Yup. Sprint and parkour are both on the same key, which is a little bit annoying. It's not the worst thing in the world, but it's irritating, and games need to stop doing it. Oh, remember when I played the Mass Effect 3 demo and I said, wow, there's like 5 actions on one button? Stop it! It's a PC game, you don't have to do that. We have lots of buttons, guys. Alright, fighting time. So, what's rather unusual for this, in regards to modern-day pseudo-realistic open-world games, is that a lot of the combat is actually based around melee, as you can see. Now, if an enemy flashes red, let's just do something unpleasant to him. There we go. Then he's about to attack you, and you are able to counter using the right mouse button. So I'm just going to let him go red for a second. There we go. And the system is pretty fluid. In various interviews, they were comparing it to Batman Arkham City, and I would say, you know, for the most part, it's reasonably fair, but it's not as good. Let's be honest, the free-flowing combat system of Arkham City is pretty hard to beat. It really is. I would not say that this is as free-form as that by any stretch of the imagination, but there's a lot of variety to it, an awful lot of variety. Unfortunately, the animations kind of get decoupled sometimes, which is a little bit irritating. I'm fighting one of the tougher guys at the moment, so having a few issues with him. You've got a combination of light and strong attacks. You can do stuff like knees, which are designed to stun. You can do sweeps on the ground. You can do flying kicks, just like that. Admittedly, this guy is not going to be interrupted by that, so let's just counter him and smack him about just a little bit. You may notice that there's a meter down at the bottom there in the yellow, and that is the face meter. The better you do in combat, the more face you gain. If you max out your face meter, then essentially you start to intimidate people around you and you get access to some flashier moves and things like that. You can do stuff like running up walls, although not in this case because, well, actually, I'm allowed to do that. And you can integrate that into your fighting as well and do stuff like that, which is super cool to watch. The combat is very, very fluid. It's very enjoyable, but if I had a criticism of it, I would say that it's got the Assassin's Creed problem. That being, the counter button is the ultimate weapon against everything. It really is. If you see something coming at you, you just counter it, and that's it. And you do a lot of counters in this game. In fact, you can win entirely just by doing that. I wouldn't do it, though, because that's a fairly inefficient way of doing things. It is much, much quicker just to beat the crap out of people, and it's a hell of a lot more fun as well. Speaking of fun, you can also get yourself some food, if you so desire. You'll even notice that the food is an actual item, which is really cool. The same with your crash helmet. If you get on a motorcycle, you pull out a crash helmet. If you get off it, you toss your crash helmet on the ground, and if you move over it, it actually knocks it around a bit. So it's actually part of the world, which is pretty damn awesome as far as I'm concerned. Out of the way. Thank you very much. I like the fact that it's focused on melee because most games like this are focused on gunplay. There is gunplay in this game, but I haven't found it yet. I kid you not, I've been playing this game probably for 3 or 4 hours. Admittedly, I've done a lot of side quests and not a lot of the main stuff, but I haven't encountered a single firearm, which is very, very odd indeed. Focused mostly on melee combat, but there is gunplay and there is bullet time and there are abilities that you can level up. Speaking of abilities that you can level up, let's actually have a look at that, shall we? If I can remember how. It's like, which button actually gets me that? Tab will allow you to see all of this stuff. Q will allow you to see collectibles, as you can see. That's the stuff that I found. Health shrines and things like that. There's all the collectibles that are available, so quite a few, as far as I am concerned. I have actually completely forgotten how to get to that menu. Let's have a look, and there it is, upgrades. Okay, so you have 3 or 4 kinds of upgrades that you can choose from, and then health upgrades, which are entirely linear. For some reason, you can click on some of this stuff, but not others, which, again, you know, it's irritating. I don't know why they haven't properly optimized the menus for PC, but there you go. So as you can see, I've got cop upgrades here. You gain cop levels for doing coppy things. You actually gain less cop points if during missions you do stuff which is not exactly kosher, like property damage, murdering innocent people, and things like that. Outside of missions, you don't actually get punished for that, and that's a kind of weird juxtaposition, but we'll talk about that in a minute. So there's your cop upgrades, controller change section, that's your health upgrades. Face advantages, these are all linear. Every time you gain a face level, you can gain access to all of this stuff. Extra special massages, yes, quite, as you might imagine. You gain all sorts of really good stuff there. And then Triad upgrades, which are for doing triad-y things, ramming people in cars, on mission, of course, beating people up, killing people, and things like that, and then melee training. Melee training is actually acquired by returning statues to your old Kung Fu master, and then you can choose which ones you want, as you can see. So you can choose to go down one route or the other. Are there enough statues to actually get everything? Yes, there are. There's 12 statues, and there are 12 attacks, so you don't necessarily have to choose. So it's cool that there's that little RPG-like aspect to it, so you've got various aspects of progression. You can customize your character to a limited degree. Speaking of customize the character, actually, you can also buy a bunch of clothes. Going to the night market is a good place to do that. There are other places I can go, such as this shop right here, which will allow me to buy, I believe it's Dragon Kick, which is an energy buff. Gives you more damage to your melee attacks, which is quite nice. I think if we're looking at some of the ugliest textures, probably some of the stuff that's in this store, honestly. But again, I don't think with a game that is this busy with so much stuff on the screen, you can expect every single piece of texture work to look amazing, as long as some of the prominent textures don't look horrendously ugly, which this game certainly does not. Alright, what else is there to do? Well, there's an awful lot to do, actually. You can do karaoke. No, I'm deadly serious. Let's go do some karaoke, because I would be amiss if I didn't show you my amazing karaoke skills. It's okay, guys. The game has air supply in it. No, I'm deadly serious. It actually does have air supply. If you want to, you can also knock over parking meters for money. Lord knows why you would do that, but hey, we're just gonna get out of that vehicle in the most sensible way possible. So this club is actually part of a story mission that I've done, but you gain access to the club later on. You can go and do karaoke and you unlock more songs as you go through. And this also introduces a fairly cool aspect of the game. So the game doesn't have multiplayer, but what it does have is what's called the social hub. And it has a bunch of sort of meta challenges within the game, and it will rate you against your friends on your friends list in Steam, which is really cool. Are we doing the Clash or All Out of Love? We're doing All Out of Love, aren't we? So behold some really bad animations and lip syncing. Oh, you'll love it, trust me. Here's hoping Air Supply don't sue me for this terrible karaoke cover. I'm very tempted to actually sing along with this, but I'm not gonna do it. No. No, I'm not doing it. I refuse. Maybe at the end of the video. Maybe at the end. Okay, so here is just, it's a little rhythm mini-game. There are parts of the story where you actually have to do this. Oh god, I screwed that up. Alright. And you essentially do a kind of Guitar Hero-like move using these combinations of keys. The key combination looks weird at first, but it's actually very intuitive. It's what should really be there. It just uses 3 buttons, you just use the combination of them, so that works perfectly fine. And you get this little hippopotamus in the corner getting really excited of your amazing performance. I think it seems like they even dubbed in the main voice actor's vocals over this, which is so bad. But apparently karaoke is a big deal in Hong Kong. Who knew? I certainly didn't, but yes, you can do karaoke in this game. I believe you actually might gain some in-game benefit for doing it, but I don't think it's very large, so you don't need to worry. It's most, I think, about competing with your friends to get the best karaoke scores. These songs are not exactly what I'd call challenging, but then again, there are a lot more songs to unlock later in the game. I think it's very important that open world games have these stupid little mini-games so that you can take a break from the main plot and go and do a bunch of stuff. Speaking of the main plot, based on early reviews, the main plot takes about 14 to 16 hours to beat, but there are a ton of side missions available. So, as with most open world games, there's a lot to do, although I have a feeling that the lack of multiplayer might be a turn-off for some people, unfortunately. You know, I would like to drive around with a friend in the car, shooting people and doing all sorts of crazy stuff. I can do it in GTA, but I can't do it in Sleeping Dogs, which kind of sucks, but hey, there you go. Now, while we are hearing the dulcet tones of the main voice actor, I can actually talk a little bit about the voice talent here. There are a number of very, very talented voice actors involved in this. Emma Stone's in it, Lucy Liu is in it. The main guy behind it was, if I recall correctly, the main villain of Die Another Day, which was not exactly the best Bond movie, but it was pretty good nonetheless. And what's his name? Let's see if I can actually remember it. William Lee is the main guy, and he is, quite frankly, extremely talented. His entire performance throughout this game, from what I've played so far, has been exceptional. In fact, it's a weird animation bugging going on there. Oh my god, really? Wow. And I was about to tell you about the animations. No, the animations are not the strong point of this game. But the voice acting certainly is. I think the writing is really, really nice. They have combinations of... I'm going to get slapped around if I get this wrong. I have to assume it's Mandarin. I would assume it's a combination of Mandarin and English. So the voice talent is, for the most part, really, really awesome, especially on the main characters. And it feels authentic. It feels like Hong Kong action movie. What I don't like are some of the voice acting parts on the minor characters, like NPCs that you interact with. I think that's mostly because they are putting on this really bad English accent, and of course they happen to either be from Hong Kong or just attempting to ape being from Hong Kong. It sounds pretty cheesy. Remember the voice acting in Deus Ex and the Hong Kong levels? Yeah, it's kind of on that level. Maybe not quite as bad, but I suppose for authenticity it's not too shabby. Animation quality, on the other hand, is where the game really doesn't do so well. The fighting is great, and you can do all sorts of cool things with it. We're going to go do a mission, actually, to show you what's going on with the fighting. But the lip syncing and the way that the characters kind of act in a very stiff fashion is not exactly what I'd call a strong point by any stretch of the imagination. Alright, let's quickly bring up the map, and we're just going to GPS our way over to an objective here. There are also drug busts, which can be done on the side. There's a bunch of races as well, which is actually fairly important to a subplot with the police missions, so I don't want to reveal too much, and if there is a major spoiler in this game, I will put a warning. If we do a story mission, chances are there's going to be a spoiler, so if you are really concerned about potential spoilers, then by all means, when we start the story mission, feel free to skip forward. Alright, onward, onward, onward we go. Which is the best way? Well, I'll just take the off-ramp over here, and I guess I'll find my way there eventually. The driving is quite complex. There's a bunch of highways and things like that, which is nice. The GPS does a really good job of getting you around the city. There are only a few areas which are really difficult to find, like, for instance, that golden chicken over there, which I will demonstrate shortly. Let's make our way through here. Now, I was telling you earlier that while you're on mission, you get penalized for stuff like this, you know, smashing up stuff, but while you're off mission, you don't. I think the reason for this is that you can't really penalize people for doing stuff that is fun in an open world game, but they still want to keep the whole undercover cop thing, so on mission they penalize you for it by reducing the number of cop points that you get while you complete a mission, and while you're off mission they just don't bother with it. I think that's probably a reasonable balance from a gameplay standpoint. You can't restrict people from doing crazy awesome stuff if they just want to drive around the city and screw things up. That's a cool thing to do in open world games. But you've still got to stick to the fact that this guy is an undercover cop and is not actually a mass murdering psychopath. Alright, story mission time, folks, so potential spoilers incoming.
Can I help you with something?
Yeah. Are you Ping?
No. There's no Ping.
How about the owner then?
I'm the owner. I'm just not Ping.
All right, not Ping. I'm picking up hardware for Orange Lotus. You know it?
Orange Lotus? Sure. This is some pretty sophisticated stuff. Sure you can handle it?
I'll manage.
My number's on the package. You need a hand getting slot X into socket Y? Give me a call.
I'll socket your Y. Along those lines, though, yes. Well, that's not a very nice thing to do. Alright, so chase sequences are fairly common in this game, both car chases and these chases, which, of course, demonstrates another part of the game, which is that they have this kind of free-running system going on. So if you tap space at just the right time, then you will go over an obstacle quicker. If you don't, you actually get penalized. You lose cop points for being clumsy, which is quite amusing. Because there are so many people around the place, it also means that you have to try and avoid people, but you can do... Oh, that killed him, really? That was just a minor little fall. Wow, that's unfortunate. Very unfortunate. But as I was about to say, you can knock people off bridges, and the way that you interact with the passers-by is really kind of awesome, quite frankly. However, most of the time in these chases, it doesn't seem like you can actually catch the guy. He's just gonna run down a back alley, and then he's gonna have his thugs ready for you. And big surprise, he actually doesn't have his thugs ready for me. Alright, okay. Never mind. There we go, the exception that proves the rule. Smack him around just a little bit. Now, there are some cool things that you can do. You can very much interact with the environment. I'll just grab him up here and... Oh, get off. Stun him just a little bit, and you can actually... No, maybe you can't. Which is really weird. It's actually bringing up the option to door slam, but it's not allowing me to do that. Here, have this to the face. There we go. And I will have that. Thank you very much. You'll find some elements of the game that can be interacted with, including shop shutters, phone booths, fish tanks at sometimes, which is rather cool, as well as air conditioners, which is rather grisly. You can shove someone's face in an air conditioner, which doesn't really end up working out too well for them. And that environmental interaction does give you triad points, which is very cool indeed, and it's a really awesome way of varying up the combat a little bit. Alright, let's have a phone call, shall we? So you have a phone, and this allows you to look through messages. You can also have a look at the social hub as well. This is a good way to access this. You can see personal bests all the way through there, and I believe the only person I'm currently competing with is actually Zook, so not too big a deal. Can send a challenge to friends as well if you happen to have a high score, and that will actually pop up in their game, and you can see there's a bunch of massive number, in fact, of stat awards, missions, and stuff like that, and you get a top 10 friends leaderboard for all of them, which is really great. Alright. You'll also notice there are police reports that you can look at. There's a lot of background lore here, which is quite interesting to read, though it's not really otherwise all that pertinent to the game. Okay, let us call Raymond.
I got it.
Our surveillance team reports that you should be able to get onto the roof from the construction site next door. Whatever you do, don't let them see you planting that bug.
No shit.
Thanks, Captain Obvious. I think I could probably borrow his car. Unfortunately, that counts as theft. So while you're on mission, hijacking a car is generally not a very good idea if you want to keep your cop points to maximum. I've honestly found that most of the time I will never get maximum cop points because I'll always do something dumb, whether or not it be to crash into someone's car, damage a piece of property around the place. You also might notice that the camera has gone a little bit wobbly there. That's because the camera is controlled by the mouse, so when you're driving, you just want to keep your hand off the mouse at all times, but it always jerks around just a little bit at the start because you take your hand off the mouse, and then it's like, oh, I want the camera to be straight ahead, so it sort of swings it around. A little bit disorientating, not a huge deal. Alright. Let's get around there and preferably not kill anyone in the process. That would be wonderful. I'd say there's a fair amount of mission variety on the main missions as well. They just, every now and again, you think, oh, it's another chase sequence, and I know it's going to end in this way. So it's kind of unfortunate. But I think the amount of side missions and just sheer variety of minigames and crazy things that you can do result in it being fairly awesome. You can also do favors for people, which are little side quests, although I don't actually have a lot around this area. I think I've done all of them in this section of the map, so that kind of sucks. But I'd actually like to do more of those, because it's just kind of solving people's problems, which is often a lot more interesting than dealing with drugs and triad stuff. Alright. Don't let anyone see us planting the bug. Just a little bit of platforming involved here. Not exactly what I'd call difficult. Mostly holding the space bar is enough to get you past most of this stuff. Quick jump over there. You are rather acrobatic, though, and... Really? You penalize me for that? Seriously? It's nice to have a hero in a game like this that is not a complete derp. I mean, he can swim, for instance, which is not something that you've been able to do in a lot of Grand Theft Auto games. In fact, a lot of open-world games. I think even in Prototype, if you go into the water, for some inexplicable reason, you end up dying. It's like, I'm a superpowered mutant that is inexplicably allergic to water. I don't even know why. Oh, nice. Some cash in the lockbox and a vintage jumpsuit. Just what I always wanted.
How'd the bus thing go?
Good.
We can fight, huh?
Yeah.
What?
Nothing.
Hey, don't try that shit. You got something to say, talk.
大佬，你聽我講啊 It's too easy. This guy comes out of nowhere just when dog guy is pressing us.
Alright, well, as you can probably figure out, there are some doubts as to my loyalty already, which is pretty cool. You're always kind of having to watch your back in this game. Nothing you can really do to directly affect it. You're not going to be making choices or conversations or anything like that, so that's not something you should really concern yourself with. It is still an open-world game one way or the other. I'm just going to gain access to this vent. Nice and easy little minigame. Plant the bug in time. Obviously, if you don't, then... calibrating sensitivity. What the hell do I do here? I guess I'm looking for green. There we go. Sorted. And calibrate the frequency. Once again, just, you know, you get these little mini-games every once in a while. Some nice interactivity. It's actually something I think they probably nicked from GTA Chinatown Wars. That had a bunch of stuff like that, so... And then we just put the grate back on, no problem at all. If you take too long, you'll fail the mission. Unfortunately, as far as I can tell, everything's going to be set into the story, so it's not like you can fail the mission, have the guy spot you, and then suddenly you lose your connection to the Triad. No, it just ends the game, so I guess that's to be expected for the most part. Once again, other little mini-games. What do I press? What's the button? It is sideways, okay. It's cool, though, nonetheless. It's nice that they've got these little things going on, which... spice up the gameplay a little bit. What? How did that not count? There we go. Now I can leave. And hopefully not get caught. Vault over there. And there we go. That's my cop score. Even though I have 3 shields, it's actually just... cop score of 2. I get level 4 excellent, so I can get some upgrades. There's a lot of stuff that's focused on disarming people and firearms, and then there's this, which I think is much more fun. Yeah, increased ramming damage, and a key to the trunk so I can steal firearms from police cars. Very handy. There we go. Wonderful. I think that there's maybe a missed opportunity with this game, in that you are not able to just work purely for the cops. You have to work for the cops and the Triad. You have to just stick with the storyline. I think maybe if they could have a few more options there and just have the guy go off the rails and essentially become full Triad, that would be cool. But I have a feeling that anything to do with that is most likely going to be fully scripted into the story. They did put a lot of effort into putting a pretty cool, gritty, and fairly authentic story into this game. The storytelling is good for the most part, I would say, and I've enjoyed what I've seen of it so far. There's been some pretty awesome stuff, and it is a great Hong Kong cop action story. Alright, Tiffany, what do you have to say?
Hey. Oh, hi. How are you?
I'm good. Listen, you busy later?
Well, I'm working. Why?
I was thinking of dropping by Bam Bam to see you.
Oh, that'd be great. You want to sing karaoke?
Well, you have to get a few drinks in me first, but, maybe. I'll see you in a bit.
You got it. Bye-bye.
Was it Tiffany that needed help? Maybe, maybe not. So, the game has a girlfriend system, yes, I kid you not, and you can go and see your girlfriend over there if you so desire. I don't remember who was it that Yeah, it was Tiffany, I thought so. So, what do you mean, need your help? I don't see anything along those lines. Unless it's actually popped up as a mission. That's a possibility. I could return a statue there and gain something else if I so desire. What I'd like to do, actually, is show you some of the racing and how the cars handle and things like that. So I'll just borrow this car, if you don't mind. Alternatively, you know what, let's not do that. I'm just going to go hail a taxi. This is much, much easier. You can hail a taxi in the game and then pay them to take you pretty much wherever you want, which is actually one of the faster ways of getting around the place. So it's up to you, really. Ooh, there's a cab there. Excellent. Just have a word with him. Do be careful, though, to hold down the right mouse button, because a right mouse click will hijack the taxi, which is not what you're after doing. No, that would be very, very silly indeed. Again, alright, which area can we head over to? I think, yes, we can pretty much go anywhere. Unfortunately, you can't ask them, take me to this illegal race. They can take you to vehicle store, parking lot, things like that. Let's go to that vehicle store over there. So it's probably quite close to a racing location, and then we can have a look at that. You can buy vehicles in this game which allow you to put them in the parking garage. That doesn't make any sense whatsoever, of course, but it's convenient nonetheless. So that in itself is fairly important. And you can store pretty much whatever you want, which is useful for racing, and if you just want a particular kind of car for a particular kind of mission. Needless to say, there are no licensed cars in this game, although some of them are very, very similar. That's obviously a Range Rover. Or, actually, is it Land Rover or Range Rover? I think it might be a Land Rover. So, some of these are fairly obvious. A lot of them are very expensive, and some of them you actually need specific face levels in order to get anything from them. Ooh, there's a lockbox over there. Very delicious. Alright. Most of these lockboxes are generally guarded by thugs, so it's always worth getting into a fight with them and then doing horrendous things to them. I say, the combat is not what I would call difficult, but I think if you crank the difficulty up to hard, then it probably becomes just a little bit more stressful. You can do all sorts of things, like toss them around the place, ram them into walls. You can often interact with walls, actually, if you just run them in, like that, for instance, which is pretty damn awesome. There's nothing I can interact with here. That's really disappointing. I wanted to slam them into a phone booth or something like that so I could show you, but unfortunately, it seems like we're not going to be having anything like that at the moment. There you go. Deal with you nice and easy. These guys' attacks can't actually be interrupted, so you got to be a little bit more careful. You can also do things like tackling them to the ground, pick them back up, toss them around the place. Tossing them off bridges into water is always fun. Let's say that the melee system is really well-rounded. I wouldn't say it's quite on the level of Batman as they claim, but it's pretty damn close, and the interaction with the environment is actually particularly impressive. When you run someone into something, it's generally very context-sensitive, so it doesn't look awkward. Every now and again, it'll bug out and not do the right thing, and maybe you can think you can toss someone into something, but it really doesn't want to do it. But for the most part, it's good. It really, really is. In fact, I think this is a very good way to sum the game up. For the most part, it's good. It is genuinely quite fantastic in many, many respects. And God, even his face is wet because of the rain. I think actually some of the work on the faces is really impressive. It's just a shame that the facial animation doesn't actually match up to that. Are there any racers nearby? Nope, nope, nope. There is a martial arts club there, which allows you to do a bunch of fighting stuff. You can maybe go and do that race over there and just hijack a car. Actually, while I hijack a car, let me show you something else which is kind of neat. So, this game doesn't always take itself seriously. As regards to the story, it's pretty gritty, but it does let you do some fairly crazy stuff. So, I'm going to steal whatever this is. Looks nice. Actually, it is a very nice car. I should get one of these. But what you can do... Let's just be kind of careful. If I press Q, it hangs me out of the side of the vehicle, which allows me to do some kind of crazy stuff, like that. You can jump onto other people's cars. In fact, we could have a train of this. It will be really quite wonderful. You can just hop from car to car to car and be some crazy car hijacking ninja bandit. I bet they won't see this coming. The system is, it's kind of awkward because you've got to hold Q, and this is, I think, designed for shooting out of car windows, but you also hold Q if you want to do an action hijack, and then you sort of kind of bash the button a little bit while you're in range of the car from behind in order to jump over to it. Occasionally, it doesn't work out so well. Like that, for instance. It's like, I keep bashing the button and I never really get it. Seems like there's a trick to it that I might be missing, but the game doesn't explain action hijacking very well at all. In fact, it hasn't explained it at all. I assume there's probably a mission which teaches you how to do it, but you're allowed to do it prior to that, of course, as you might imagine. Can I hijack the bus? No, I cannot. How very, very upsetting that is. I am screwing this up quite often, but it's fun to be able to do that. It's actually a very effective way to get cops off your tail. You can easily hijack the cop car while you're doing it, kick them out of it. Lord knows how they let you do that, but it works fairly well. Let's go buy some clothes, shall we? Let's go and see what options are available. A little bit of customization, why not? I can buy chains and watches. I will remove the current outfit. Okay. Oh wow! That guy is in fact Londoner. Yes, I would like to improve my look. Thank you very much. I'm gonna have a frisky white gold chain. There we go. Requires... Oh, thank you very much, love. A sports watch. I'm so pleased you found something. So am I. So am I. So there's a lot of options, which is nice, and some of them actually have set bonuses as well. You get 5% melee damage if you have the full set of these. And they're not all the same either. You can get various kinds of them, which also give you the same set bonus, so you can customize just a little bit more. That's a thug. All right, let's go with the leather jacket, shall we? It's so in this season. Ugh. Kicks or kicks? I'll go with the black one. There we go.
You won't find real brand names for any less.
Well, let's see what else. Which is better? I'll go with these. Why doesn't he have any trousers? This place has no trousers.
My humble shop thanks you for your incredible business.
Yes. This doesn't look remotely weird. Can I please find some trousers somewhere? What the hell is wrong with this game? Well, you can buy everything else, but you can't buy pants. Alright then. Fair enough. Well, I guess we're sticking in the breezes for a while. I think I'm gonna go borrow this guy's car if he doesn't mind. He actually doesn't have a choice in the matter. Slightly out of range of the police, of course, so there's not too much of an option. There we go. Ah, nice little vehicle you have here. Let's go get in this race, and that will actually allow me to pick some of the cars that I have managed to acquire. That doesn't penalize you at all, although if you run someone over or you kill someone, the ambulance will generally arrive, and he'll announce that dead on sight and things like that. Then you can steal the ambulance, like a douchebag. Because let's be honest, you're playing open world games, you're probably going to act like a bit of a dick. Alright, all the way around to the race, and let's go give this a try then. We'll probably do a couple of missions and give you a conclusion on this particular title. Because let's be honest, it's a full price title. It's, I believe, 10% off on the pre-order on Steam. So you're looking at £27, $45 or 45 euros, give or take. Supposedly the race was here. I see no race. The hell is the race? Oh, I'm missing something obvious. Just bloody disappeared. Unless, oh, I think that's the race start line. Okay, so yeah, I'm going in the wrong direction. That's just my own fault. Get a quick move over in this direction. Shouldn't be too tricky. Overall, I think I can safely say that I have immensely enjoyed my time with the game so far. I do like open world games. I especially like open world games with a focus on melee. There is a fully functional cover system and firearms, but again, for some... Why is this here? Good lord, why on earth would you put that there? Anyway, that's besides the point. There are firearms in the game, but I haven't got the chance to test them, so I really couldn't tell you how good they actually are. The game just seems to abhor the use of them, and after playing for so long, I would have actually expected to have had just a few more firearms involved, but no, apparently not. Yeah. I'm sexy and I know it. Alright, we shall go with the... whatever the hell that is. So these races do serve a purpose from a storyline perspective, but they also serve a purpose in competing with people on your friends list. Is someone really racing in that? I think I should have the edge over these guys, but you would be surprised. They are tiny little bastards, and this is a little race. One thing I didn't mention is that there's a ram function. If you hold the control key and then press in a direction, then you actually move to ram, which is curious. I don't know really why they put that in the game, considering you can do it anyway. I mean, I just need to drive into someone to ram them, but this gives you just a temporary boost of speed, and it does some extra damage if you happen to have the right skills, so it's cool that it's in the game. It very much encourages some rather naughty behavior from the race standpoint. I love how everyone decided to drive a smart car because, oh, it's narrow streets, a smart car will be effective. Wait, I need to go over 30 miles an hour? Truly, this has foiled my plan. Alright, never mind. Racing is fun, actually. The car handling is generally very cool indeed. I believe some of the guys that worked on this also worked on Need for Speed, and they wanted to try and bring an element of Need for Speed into the game, and they succeeded in doing that. The cars are just really fun to drive. Genuinely so, even without analog sticks, which is a tall order, honestly. I feel that, for the most part, if you're going to be driving a car, you want to be using some kind of analog device, whether it be a stick or indeed a racing wheel. This works pretty well, though. I can control very easily with the keys, so not too shabby. We'll do a couple, well, maybe one more mission, I think. I would like to do a drug bust, actually, to show you how that actually worked, because you'll be doing quite a lot of those, honestly. They're optional side missions, I think, for the most part, but there are occasionally times when you do need to do them in order to progress in the game. Usually those will be highlighted fairly well, though. So there's a race done for you. Let's go to this clothing store and see if they actually have any trousers. Otherwise, I'll be running around the street saying, wiggle, wiggle, wiggle. Move around here, there we go. I just love how busy this city feels! As I was saying, I love how busy the city feels and how much crazy stuff is going on. It's not the best looking game ever, but it's certainly one of the most vibrant looking. It's a vibrant looking city with a ton of awesome, cool stuff going on. Ooh, suits. Excellent. Give that a shot, shall we? Have words with you. What are we buying? Ah, tuxedo pants. Yes, of course. Oh, wow, we need face level 6 for that. That's pretty high. All business set. You get a discount on buying vehicles and things like that. Police inspector set. Ah, I want a thug set, but I guess, you know, these white dress suit pants will do for the moment.
Thank you so much, Mr. Shen.
Pretty styling. How on earth they know who I am, I don't know, but I guess that's because you upgrade your face level and you gain something of a reputation. Alright, what do we have missions-wise to have a look at? There's a ton of drug busts all over the city. The city is pretty massive, actually. What I would like to show you, actually, is my cock. Yes, cockfighting is available, so let's drive over there. This also gives you the opportunity to have a look, hopefully, at some boats, because that's right next to the harbour. Cockfighting is one of those silly little mini-games, and indeed, I think all the betting games in this title kind of suck, because you can't bet a lot of money, and it's really a complete waste of your time. It just really is. There's so little reason to actually take part in any of these mini-games. You don't do anything, you just watch cocks fight, obviously. It's cockfighting, what the hell else would it be? You don't get to be involved in it in any way other than just betting on a contestant. You have no idea who's going to actually win anyway, so it's something of a waste of time, I feel. It's nice that they put it in there. I just would have liked to have seen them flesh the system out a little bit more than it is. You can hijack boats quite easily, and driving boats around the water areas around the city is a lot of fun. There are some missions, of course, that do involve boats and the water, and of course you can toss people in the water, which is even more enjoyable. Huge fan of that. Okay, move around the side here. Funnily enough, a lot of these areas for cockfighting are often very hard to access. I have to wonder if that's deliberate. Mostly because you've got these huge areas that are walled off by these high railings, which you can't even climb up. You've got to find the specific way to gain access to it. A little bit annoying. Needless to say, my clean driving ranking is not exactly all that high. Zook, who's also been playing this game, is a significantly better driver than I am. Ooh, there's actually a vehicle store here. I'm tempted to actually go shopping before that. Although Lord knows where, I guess it's on the other side. This is probably not the best way of accessing it, but you know what? It's the most awesome way of accessing it, so let's do a little bit of parkour and jump our way off here and see what he's got to sell me. What you got for me? Anything good? Ooh, motorbikes. Wow, those are expensive, but ooh, those are really, really awesome. Those are Class A race cars, and there are certain races that you can only do in certain classes, so it's pretty neat. And yes, we got the idea the first time, thank you very much. Now, where did I put my cock? Alright, there it is. Surprisingly easy to lose, considering. Although, for some reason, it will not allow you to highlight it when you're in this area. Maybe it only works in a car. We'll just steal this guy's delivery van. There we go. And then we'll go drive off in this direction, and perhaps I can actually locate it now. Or maybe it just tells you the general area. It looks like it only tells you the general area. That's a little bit annoying. It requires me to actually navigate. I can't do things like that. You kidding me? I'm terrible at that sort of thing. Ooh, there's a boat over there. Yes, if we can steal that, we're definitely stealing it. I'm in completely the wrong area of the dock. Let's steal the boat in order to get to the cockfight. It's an old world game. That's what it's designed to do. I don't know if that's actually a thievable boat. I think it might be a little bit too big. Ooh, there's a health shrine over there, too. Once again, very easy to get distracted in this game, as you might imagine. But health shrines are fairly important nonetheless, so we shall pay our respects. As you can see. Now, can I steal that boat? I think probably not. It looks like it might be a little bit too big. You can only really steal stuff like speedboats. Yeah, if I can steal this, I will be very, very surprised. Hang on, it lets me enter the boat. Can I drive it? Really? Are you seriously gonna... Oh, game. You know me better than I know myself. We can steal the giant frickin' boat. Yes. So much yes piled in a small package. Why you would want to, I cannot actually imagine, but yes, I can steal the giant sodding boat. I'm really surprised by that. I expected that to be a scenery piece, and it is as hard to control as you might imagine. I am very, very slowly hijacking this giant boat. Oh, I love it. I love it. You see, that's the kind of stupid crap you want to be able to do in an open world game. I don't think you'll ever top the amount of stupid crap that you can do in a game like Just Cause 2, but it's close enough. Square-Enix seem to be publishing quite a lot of really good open world games lately, and I really hope they continue to do so. Yes, there we go. My cock was hiding over here. I'll show you my cock. He's pretty good at what he does, honestly. Fairly effective. Alright. Let's very slowly make our way off the boat and plunge directly into the water, because hey, why not? You can actually dock boats, but I've forgotten what the key is, so there you go. Alright. Cockfighting. Because why the hell not? Makes sense, adds to the authenticity, and is quite frankly a complete waste of your bloody time. Alright.
Hey buddy, you want in?
Yes, I very much do.
I got best bird.
Who has the best bird?
My cock is the best.
Is it? Okay. Can't argue with that. That guy's got 6 wins, that guy's got 0. Whose cock would I like to bet upon? Wow. Oh my god, you can actually spend a lot. I really hope I don't screw this up. 75,000 Hong Kong dollars. Here we go. I'm betting pretty much all of my money on this cock. So I hope this cock does not fail me. Come on, my cock. Smack him about. Smack it about with my cock. I'm sorry, this joke's getting really old, isn't it? No, you're finding it funny anyway. I know you are. Your mind's in the gutter. That's just how it is. As you can see, white cock versus black cock. Who will triumph? We do some commentary on this, but this is really all there is to it. You just watch it, and occasionally one of the cocks will wilt and die, as is always the way, ending in disappointment for at least one party. No! My cock! Oh! Ow! Once again, I lose a bunch of money due to my cock. Damn it. Oh well, I guess I didn't really want all that money anyway. I did it for your entertainment. Now I hate all of you. Conclusion. We'll do one more mission while I am coming up with this conclusion. Does it do anything better than existing open world games? Probably not. I think that each individual element of this game can be beaten by another game. For melee combat, you can beat it with Batman Arkham City. For gunplay, I couldn't assess it because I haven't seen any. God knows why. Why on earth? Ooh, I think there's a fight club over here. Let's get involved in that. I'm so easily distracted. I'm very, very sorry. For gunplay, I can't actually assess it at all because it hasn't shown me any yet, although apparently it's got slow-mo and cool stuff like that, so it very much evokes the memory of films like Hard Boiled, which is cool. For driving, I don't know. I mean, I think the driving is actually on par with the vast majority of open world games. It's so much fun to do, and I'd definitely say it's better than Just Cause 2's, which is a lot more floaty. I think it's better than GTA's, which is a lot more realistic, although I have a feeling that some of you like that anyway, so I guess maybe the driving works. I think what it does have over the majority of games that are open world is a really nice cohesive story with some excellent voice actors. It's got a great setting. It's got a fun combat engine that is nice when it comes to interacting with the environment. So it's very kinetic and more varied than you might think. It's got good customization for your character, even though you can't actually create it. You've got to look at games like Saints Row 3, though, if you want to look at customization. I mean, there's no way that Sleeping Dogs is going to live up to Saints Row 3 in that. And I think in terms of pure madness, Saints Row 3 and Just Cause 2 are the kings of the genre. This game treads a very fine line between trying to be serious and also being just a little bit of a comedic open-world game. It is trying for the whole serious plot thing, and for the most part, it seems to do fairly well in that regard. I think it walks the line pretty well. There are occasionally parts of the game that make me scratch my head and think, really, you put this in the game? Like some of the NPCs' really cheesy voice acting and blatant sexual innuendos, and of course I would never do anything like that. That would be a terrible thing. What a horrible idea. Who would do such a thing? I think the melee system is probably a little bit too focused on counters, but aside from that, it's pretty fun to play. I think if you want a really fluid combat system, I guess counters have to play a pretty hefty role. I mean, I talk about how good Arkham City's melee system is, and then that is a game that's really based on counters. So one way or the other, it's going to happen. And I think that can make combat just a little bit too simple in places. Although, again, I haven't assessed the gunplay, so because the game just doesn't give me any for whatever reason. I'm so far into it and I haven't had any gunplay. That really surprises me. I guess they're keeping that as a surprise for later on in the game. But would I recommend it? I think I would, actually. I think I genuinely would. I think there's enough content to justify full price. I think that, for the most part, they have kept their promise of being a really good PC version. There's stuff like the menus and some of the keys not being rebindable that I really don't like. And again, I have noticed some frame drops in some areas, but it may just be an optimization issue for NVIDIA cards. I would imagine that if you have a high-end AMD card, this is going to run better, because they have once again partnered with AMD, so there are some AMD-specific proprietary things that are going on under the hood. But one way or the other, the game runs really well. I don't mind the occasional dip to 40 FPS, especially when it's not remotely common. Alright, I guess we're fighting all these guys then. Alright, fair enough. Let me send you over here into the rest of them. I think some of the best fights are where you do have this very Hong Kong style of everyone sort of dancing around you, but more often than not, more than one person will actually try and attack you, so it's not that bad, but still, I would really like just to see efforts by guys to team up on me and try to do combo attacks together, and they just don't do that, so maybe that's something that could have been in the melee system there. It's still fun though. I mean, look at how fluid it actually is. You've got so many combos and different abilities that you can learn. Catch people in the middle of spinning flying kicks, run up walls and then just kick off them. I mean, well, most of the time anyway. Apparently it doesn't let you do it in this particular fighting area. It's probably because it's just a fighting club. But for the most part, the environment lets you interact with it. I'd actually like to show you some more of this environment interacting stuff. I'm not seeing it, so I think we'll do one story mission after that and hope that they have a fighting area where there's some of these cool environmental aspects that I can show you, because those are particularly funny and very awesome to see. Storyline-wise, I'm really impressed. Even if I'm interrupting the storyline an awful lot with the side quests and things like that, I still feel like I know what's going on. I can keep track of the story pretty well. It's cool that you're playing... I wouldn't say you're playing both sides per se, but playing an undercover cop is a really cool role, because you get all of the low-down dirty crime and triad stuff, but you also get this tension about whether or not you've been detected as a rat, and then, of course, the fact that you have to balance your duties as an undercover cop with your duties as a member of the Triad. So, how much violence do you really employ? And I think the character of Wei Shen is really interesting too, because he has this internal conflict a lot of the time. He's got a vendetta against the Triads, but a lot of the stuff he does is, you know, very much Triad. I mean, one could argue he's almost as bad as the people that he is trying to put behind bars and indeed has a vendetta against. So that's cool. It's very nice to get a complex character as your main guy, and I think Wei Shen he's very likable, but he does do some stuff every now and again that it's going to make you scratch your head just a little bit. He's not a perfect guy at all. He's no hero, I suppose one could say. There we go. We'll finish up the Fight Club, and then we'll go do another mission, and then we can round this up. I want to show you as much of this game as possible, because quite frankly, if you're going to spend this much money on a game, you need to know as much as you possibly can about it. Alright, round 6 is a little bit intense. Move some of you out of the way. Kick to the faces. Oh, ouch. As you said, you're really not in any danger in melee unless you forget to counter a lot. Also, there are certain kinds of melee fighters, like grapplers. If you try and grapple them, they will most likely counter you. Some of the stronger guys have a tendency of countering stuff that you do, so you do have to be careful with the attacks that you choose to use, so something to consider, certainly. I like there's a little bit of variety as well. When I ram them into the wall there, I've seen multiple animations like that. If I ram them in from the side, it slams their head sideways in, slam them up against it like that. It looks different, so a lot of cool motion capture in here. While the facial animations are not that well animated, and there are some problems with some of the ways that the NPCs move, the fighting, well, they've obviously put a hell of a lot of work into that. Get off! As you can see, he's a grappler, so things to concern yourself with there. A quick kick over there. Hammering the button is a good way to escape. I wouldn't say the game's got a lot of quick time events. In fact, I haven't really seen any. Does that count as a QTE to you? I think it's just part of the fighting system, really, so you can turn those prompts off if you so desire, which will make the game just a little bit more challenging. You're going to go into that wall. Thank you very much. It does slow the game down when you do that for stylistic reasons, I suppose. Man, I've got to say, though, it does take a while to beat up 5,000 guys. Let's try and counter him. No, that did not work out so well at all, but we can dodge him on the floor there. As you can see, there's the counter. I mean, this must be fun to watch, surely. I mean, this combat is so great, in my opinion. It feels so fantastic to do. I don't get bored of it. I just hunt out people, actually, on the street just to beat them up. That could be taken out of context, quite frankly, but it's just because the combat system is meaty. It feels great. It's sufficiently acrobatic, but also fairly realistic. You've got this kind of street style whereby you are using parts of the environment to your advantage, ramming people into objects and walls and stuff like that. But you've also got some flair there because, of course, you know mixed martial arts. Good balance. The entire game, actually, could be considered, I think. I'm sorry, I'm running out of words. I've been talking for a very long time. Could be considered to be a good balance of everything. I think that they took a lot of different things into account, and they didn't really slack on any of the elements of the game. So, I'm impressed. I really am. It's a very well-rounded, well-developed game with a lot of very cool elements. Well, at least I got a lot of my cash back from earlier. Right, we're going to do one more mission, I think. Chain of Evidence, I believe, is my mission. Is this where it's taking? Where's it taking me? Not to the right place, I believe. E is objectives. So I should be able to see that. Oh, it's all the way over there. Probably best to get a cab, actually. Assuming I can find one. Before that, however, I will steal a car in order to get a cab. Yeah, logic plus plus, am I right? Make our way out of here. I love the kind of power that's behind a lot of these cars as well. It feels really good to drive. It's very easy to get your hands on a fairly powerful car, but there are some way more powerful cars later on in the game. This looks good and it feels powerful, but no, there's way better ones. Really expensive sports cars and things that you gain access to, which are, quite frankly, awesome. I did get to play around with one of them in an earlier mission, and it was so far in advance of what I'm driving now, even if this thing feels powerful. And I think it's great that it can have some progression, but even then on the lower end, still feels good to drive. You're not stuck with crappy cars at the start of the game. Very cool. Oh well, we're going at a reasonable pace, so I guess we'll just drive then. This actually gives me a chance to tour the city and show you a lot of the stuff that's going on. There are 4 main regions which you can drive around, and there's a ton of stuff to do in each one, as you might imagine. Ooh, there's a vending machine right there. Don't get distracted by the vending machine. What the hell's wrong with you? This game is also turning me into schizophrenic at this rate. I also like the fact that each region looks a little bit different. Like the financial districts look very different to kind of downtown areas. There's more traditional markets juxtaposed with these very modern skyscrapers and highline buildings. Also, there's a ton of commercial advertising everywhere. Obviously, it's for fake products, so don't get so upset that there's real advertising in the game. There really is not. It is all a bunch of fake products, but it does add a certain degree of authenticity, which I do enjoy. Authenticity is a good way to describe this game. Just that view distance. Not bad. Not bad at all, considering the amount of detail there. I would really expect there to be a hell of a lot more pop-in with the world. And while I have noticed a little bit of pop-in with the cars at extreme range, it hides it very well. And as regards to the detail, you can see buildings so far ahead and then actually drive to them and have a look at them in greater detail. And there's just so much all over the place. Such a colourful, great, awesome city to drive around in. Alright. We'll go do one last mission, and then I'm going to cap this video off, folks. I do want to show you just a little bit more of the storyline. Bear in mind, of course, that this could be considered a spoiler, indeed. Arguably should be considered a spoiler. I don't know how important a spoiler it really will be. There's no way for me to tell, because, of course, I have not done this yet. Ooh, you know what? I want to let that guy get ahead of me. Where is he? Because he's got an awesome car. Let's just get out of the way. It's alright, you go right ahead. You go right ahead. And then, let's see if I can get this right. Can I get it right? Can I get... Nope, nope. This is really awkward to do. I think I might want to... There we go. I might want to rebind that key, actually, because the hijack is a little bit awkward. Oh, yeah. Oh, yes. Look at that. Ah! Oh, you know what I was saying with that? With the whole idea that there are cars that they all feel powerful, but some are way more powerful than others. Yeah. Yeah, this right here. I don't know what this is, I can't identify it, but my god, this is a great car. I want it in my life. Game makes me smile so much, there's so much crazy stuff you can do with it. I think this is going to be a surprise for a lot of people. I don't think many people expected the game that came out of the ashes of a true crime title to actually be so well polished and so much bloody fun. But it is. It is fun.
You okay?
No, I'm in big trouble. I really need your help, please.
What's wrong?
It's this.
A gun?
Yes. Charlie made me carry it in my purse for him. He didn't want the cops to find it, so he made me take it. And now he's gone, and I don't know what to do with it.
Charlie. He's one of Dog Eye's people, right?
Yes, and you took over, right? So in a way, the gun is yours too. You'll take it, won't you?
Sure, I'll take it. That's it? That's your big problem.
Yes. Thank you so much, Wei. I knew I was right to trust you.
Don't worry, Tiffany. I'll take care of it.
Thanks, Wei. You're the greatest.
Well, it's almost like the game has become self-aware, because it's just given me a gun. We're gonna continue with the video until I can find some gunplay, and then I can show you what could be perhaps considered to be the missing piece of this puzzle.
Hello?
Raymond, I got something.
What is it?
Something for ballistics. A weapon belonging to one of Dog Eye's men. Do you know Charlie Pang?
Wait, how did you get Charlie Pang's gun?
Never mind. Can you use it?
Alright, meet me. I'm on my way.
Or maybe not. That would be absolutely typical. At least I can get back in my great car. Always nice. It's a little bit beaten up, but you know what? That doesn't seem to affect the performance. Cars are actually surprisingly durable in this game. I would expect them to explode way quicker than they do, but no, they don't. You can beat them up and they'll be absolutely fine. That was a massage parlor, by the way. Exactly what you would expect to happen does in fact happen there. It gives you an in-game benefit, so it is very much worthwhile. No, you don't get to see it. You horrendous, perverted man. It is a mature-rated game, if I recall correctly, and I've been told there's actually a sex scene in the game somewhere, but aside from that, yeah, you don't get to see too much in that regard. Plenty of swearing, though, gritty storyline, things like that, so can't really complain too much. I guess it's in the underpass. Let's just leap out of the car and crash it here. It's okay, this is a reasonable place to park it, right? What do you mean it isn't? Well, let's see if it actually lets me do any gunplay. I would think that this is their contrived way of introducing guns into the game, but you never know.
Andrew? What are you doing here? Where's Raymond?
This is something I wanted to handle personally, Wei. Do you have Charlie Pang's gun?
Yeah.
I'm sure you've noticed that guns are something of a rarity in Hong Kong. Not like in the States. This particular gun is quite important.
So who's the dead guy?
I was hoping you'd help me with that, actually. Officer Shen, take up a firing position.
I knew it. I knew it.
Okay, you ready?
Alright, time to check out the gun. Alright, okay, so one thing I can notice with mouse control in this is that the mouse acceleration kind of changes when you go into lock-on mode here. It's not a huge deal, but it's a little bit disorientating at times. Like, you're moving around, it's like, okay, so this is the speed, and now suddenly this is actually slower than moving the camera around. A little bit awkward. I'm not sure if I feel any obvious mouse smoothing or sensitivity problems here. Don't think so. Gun feels pretty good, though.
All right, listen. It's simple. We'll have to recreate the fight.
You think you can rip me off? Oh, hang on. Let's just talk about this. Fuck you. Let's go. Damn it.
First, he was in cover behind the barricade.
All right.
Get down behind that barrier.
There's the cover.
I want you to put some bullets in a few things.
In the television. In that. Which actually isn't doing a damn thing. My apologies, the game decided it really wanted to go into windowed mode there. Alright, let's try it again. Shoot that. There we go. That light. Anything else? Blind fire, as you can see. This is pretty good, actually.
By now,
yeah, it feels good. I do want to see the whole slow-mo thing that's going on. They claimed that there was some slow-motion combat and things like that.
Where are you going, Wei?
I'm going here. I guess I'm not allowed to do that.
Then he must have run through over there.
Alright. Second barricade. Go into cover. It's not as smooth as I would like to actually go into cover, unfortunately. I would definitely like to see that smoothed out just a little bit. But it's also nice to have a separate key to go into cover so you don't automatically stick to it. Thank you, every other bloody third-person cover shooter.
Firing shots from the passenger window.
Alright.
But he couldn't get a clean shot, so he pushed forward.
A vault shot, alright. There you go, there's your slow-mo. Very nice. Very much an obvious, like, hey, you know, we're really gonna teach you how to do all this stuff via a contrived recreation mission or whatever, but it works.
Keep going.
Feel good. Got some more. There we go. Good, 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 good. Can I vault over the car while shooting? Yes, I can. Yes, I can. Very much so. Nice.
What are you waiting for?
Yeah, this is pretty enjoyable, actually. But yeah, it's nice that he actually mentioned it. You know, as you might have noticed, guns are something of a rarity in Hong Kong. It's like, well, yes, they are. Yes. Nope.
Keep going. Come on.
Alright. I have to kill them both using a vault shot? Oh, hold shift while vaulting, slow time down. Okay, I did not pay any attention to that whatsoever, and that was a very stupid thing to do.
One more thing.
Wonderful.
Tried to get away.
Let me guess.
Charlie disabled the car.
Okay, you can shoot car tires. Nice. Very nice.
Your weapon, officer. Good firing, Wei.
Pendrew! What are you doing?
I told you he wasn't important. Now he is. He's going to help us nail Charlie Pang. It's for the greater good, Wei. You understand?
I don't think I do, sir.
Wei, I know who you are. You're just like me. You do what must be done. Local PD is on their way. You should go.
And there you have it, ladies and gentlemen, the final piece of the puzzle being the shooting, which is also kinda cool too. Alright, conclusion. As far as I'm concerned, Sleeping Dogs is a very well-rounded package. It is essentially got everything. Everything that I could possibly want from an open-world game. Including cop chases. Including action hijacking. Can I actually do it on this? Yes. Aha! God, I love that. That's so great. I think I've pissed the cops off just a little bit more than I would like, though. Never mind. It's alright. We'll just drive over the cop car. That will surely appease them. It's got a great story. It's got awesome characters, in my opinion. It's got little problems here and there that would prevent me from saying that this is an amazing, awesome game. It is a good game. It is a good game that I think is very much worth the asking price. It's nice that they've rebooted the IP and not actually used true crime because, let's be honest, does anyone really have fond memories of that game? And for God's sake, you fight a dragon in that game. That doesn't make any sense at all. But it's a really solid open world title. I think its glaring omission is probably multiplayer, honestly. But with the addition of the social hub and all these different challenges, which is very, very cool indeed, I don't think it suffers too much from that. I'm going to be playing more of this. I am looking forward to actually coming to the conclusion on this title and finishing it entirely because I've enjoyed my time with Sleeping Dogs immensely. I would highly recommend that you check it out. For the claims on the PC port, they have for the most part got it right. It is a great looking game. It runs really well on PC, but there are a couple of things that I hope they patch, as I've mentioned previously, but they did not lie to you, which is always nice. I think we've had quite enough of that. My name has been Totalbiscuit, taking a rather lengthy look at Sleeping Dogs. I'll see you next time.
I'm all out of love. I'm so lost without you. I know you were right, believing for so long. I'm all out of love. What am I without you? I can't be too late to say that I was so wrong.